Hello dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the cricket afternoon show today. It's an early cricket afternoon show due to have some other chores to attend. Well, dear fans and subscribers, what a day today as far as international cricket is concerned. Pakistan are once again they are just close to an historic win in the first test against New Zealand. They are just 2 wickets away from victory against New Zealand, and they require, in fact, New Zealand require an enormous 306 runs with only their tailenders for company. And the reason that I say history is going to be made is that Pakistan's captain Misbah would become the most successful captain ever in Pakistan cricket history when tomorrow it's a mere formality that on the final day Pakistan will be winning this match by a huge margin once again, and once again this is the 5th time that Pakistan have declared. So that really shows the amount of ascendancy that Pakistan possesses, and as I said, Captain Misbah with that victory will become the most successful test captain in Pakistan cricket history, as he would be overtaking the greats like Javed Miandad and Imran Khan as captains of Pakistan. So what a proud moment and what a historic moment it is going to be tomorrow in the first session, when, as I said, today Mohammad Hafiz went on to score a brilliant century, and for New Zealand Pakistan declared at that score. As I said yesterday, they scored some quick runs and 175 for 2 declared. So that set a target, a very impossible target of 480 runs to get for New Zealand, and New Zealand were really struggling at 174 for 8. As I said, it's a mere formality that on the final day Misbah-ul-Haq, the Pakistan captain, would be making history by becoming the most successful captain ever in Pakistan cricket test history as a captain. So another news another record was shattered today. This happened in Bangladesh, and this was an opening partnership between the Bangladeshi openers, Tamim Iqbal, who hit a century in the last match, and once again Tamim Iqbal hit a century. Not only that, Imrul Kais, who was drafted in place of Shamsul Rahman, also came good with making his second test century on his comeback, and Tamim Iqbal and Imrul Kais put on a record 224 run partnership for the opening wicket for Bangladesh, now eclipsing the earlier 185 run partnership that the openers had against England. So now this is the highest ever opening partnership for Bangladesh. Not only that, and Tamim Iqbal now has equaled the most number of centuries which has been hit by a Bangladeshi batsman in Test cricket. It was standing in the name of Mohammad Ashraful, and now Tamim Iqbal has equaled Mohammad Ashraful's record as the most, in the sense, the person with the most number of hundreds in Test cricket, joining Mohammad Ashraful, who is no longer there in the Bangladesh team. Well, so first what I'm going to do, and Bangladesh finished very strongly. They finished at 303 for 2 at close of play on the first day of the final test match between Bangladesh and Zimbabwe at the Zahur Ahmed Chowdhury Stadium in Chittagong. And one has to say the crowds were not much to see this opening record being shattered by Tamim Iqbal and Imrul Kais, and I thought Bangladesh really took advantage of some inspired bowling from the Zimbabwean attack, and they really got a big score on the board at close on the first day. But first, let's talk about this very interesting match between New Zealand and Pakistan. Is that Pakistan resuming on their overnight score of 15 for no loss. Sodhi was the one who actually gave them an early breakthrough by first dismissing Azhar Ali LBW for 23 without any boundary to his credit, and Yunus Khan, after making 28, was also out in similar circumstances. LBW bowled Ish Sodhi for 28, but Mohammad Hafiz was looking in his element today. He was stroking the ball sweetly and fluently. He was driving well, he was cutting well, he was pulling well, and he was also hitting some beautiful strokes down the ground of the spinners. It was really good to see. There was nothing that could worry Mohammad Hafiz, and Mohammad Hafiz was stroking the ball absolutely cleanly, and Sarfraz Ahmed chipped in with an unbeaten 13 or 14 balls. And when Mohammad Hafiz reached his century, that was the time Misbah ul Haq, the Pakistan captain, called his troops over, as Mohammad Hafiz finished on an unbeaten 101, and this was a century which was hit by Mohammad Hafiz after probably 22 innings in Test cricket without a Test century, and Mohammad Hafiz would have been pretty happy with that effort. He was not out on 101 as Misbah ul Haq, the Pakistan captain, declared the innings closed at 175 for 2, thus setting New Zealand a target. They declared at tea time, so thus setting a target of 480 runs for victory for New Zealand to win the match. Looking at the bowling, Trent bowled 7 overs 2 minutes, none for 25. Tim Southee 9 overs for 33. Ish Sodhi was the most successful, 13 overs 1 made and 66 runs and 2 wickets. Corey Anderson 5 overs 1 made and none for 11. Mark Craig 5 overs for 29, and Brendan McCullum bowled just 2 balls for 3 runs. Now New Zealand's second innings started off with Latham and McCullum deciding that it's better to really go on the attack, and that's what Brendan McCullum in particular was pretty aggressive in his batting, as he actually drove Rahat Ali and Imran Khan for boundaries, and then the spin had to be introduced. In fact, Misbah ul Haq, the Pakistan captain, was forced to introduce some spin, as Tom Latham also with his confidence was after the confidence that he had by getting a century in the previous innings. Tom Latham was also looking good. So Tom Latham and McCullum started off in a very swift manner, and they posted 57 for the first wicket, and then the spinners were introduced. Once the spinners were introduced, the problem started for New Zealand, as the first wicket to go was Tom Latham, as he actually tried to pull a delivery from Zulfikar Babar. Actually he tried to probably paste it through the point region, I suppose, and Yasir Shah picked up the catch, and Tom Latham was walking after making 20 with 3 fours. And after that there was one more wicket which quickly fell, and that was the opener Brendan McCullum. As Yasir Shah was introduced into the attack, and Yasir Shah with his right arm leg spin really surprised Brendan McCullum with a googly that went on to trap McCullum on the pads, and up went the umpire's finger. Brendan McCullum gone. LBW bowled Yasir Shah for 39 with 7 boundaries, which made the score 61 for 2. And then and the next wicket to go was Ross Taylor. Ross Taylor was also got a similar delivery that defeated Brendan McCullum, and this time it was Ross Taylor's turn to have a dismal Test match here, as Ross Taylor was also snapped. LBW bowled Yasir Shah for 8, and suddenly New Zealand, who were doing well with the openers going on very well, suddenly collapsed to 69 for 3, and the pressure started building with the spinners started to weave a web and create doubts in the New Zealand batsmen's minds. Corey Anderson joined. I think it was Corey Anderson was joining in. And Jimmy Neesham was the crease. So 2 new batsmen were, in fact it was I think it was Latham, McCullum and Taylor were dismissed. So Williamson was there, and Williamson was joined in by Corey Anderson, and both of them slowly started pushing the innings along, and the score reached Nelson 111, and that was the time Mohammad Hafiz bowled a superb delivery, and to get a wicket of Kane Williamson, I thought it was a wonderful delivery, because Kane Williamson is such a compact batsman who rarely gives you any chances. His defense is so impregnable. But here we saw Mohammad Hafiz really turning on some tricks up his sleeve as he floated the ball to Kane Williamson. Kane Williamson was lured into playing the shot. He came down the wicket, and the ball actually turned past the bat of Kane Williamson, where Sarfraz Ahmed whipped off the bails, and Kane Williamson was sent back to the pavilion. Stumped Sarfraz Ahmed, bowled Mohammad Hafiz for 23 with 3 fours, which made it 111 for 4, and Jimmy Neesham did not trouble the scorers at all, as Rahat Ali came in. In fact, from 111 for 4, suddenly the New Zealand innings totally went into disarray, as Rahat Ali with his beautiful moving deliveries first snapped up the wicket of Jimmy Neesham by getting him caught by Sarfraz Ahmed behind the wicket for a duck, and BJ Watling was sent for a first ball duck by Rahat Ali, as he actually got him clean bowled for a duck with the ball moving the air, and suddenly the New Zealand innings were in absolute tatters at 112 for 6. Corey Anderson was in the middle, and he was joined in by Mark Craig. Corey Anderson and Mark Craig briefly offered, I mean, there was no resistance at all. In fact, Corey Anderson, after making 23 runs, was snapped. LBW bowled Imran Khan for 23, which made the score 121 for 7, and Tim Southee was clean bowled with Zulfikar Babar for 5, and the problem started for New Zealand at 138 for 8, and probably one thought that the match is going to end pretty soon between New Zealand and Pakistan, probably on the 4th day itself, but Mark Craig and East Sodhi stuck it out with a very stubborn partnership. In fact, they had taken the score to 174, so there's 36 runs, but they had occupied 89 deliveries, and they really stuck it out there with really the Pakistani bowlers were really frustrated, with Mark Craig showing some real pluck with an unbeaten 27 with 3 boundaries, and East Sodhi also showing his batting capabilities, stroking the ball freely, making an unbeaten 27 with 5 fours, and both of them would be resuming the innings tomorrow. 174 for 8 was the final tally for New Zealand on the chasing 480 runs for victory, and there is only 2 more wickets, but they require an enormous 306 runs. It's an impossible task. One is pretty sure that the captain, Pakistan would have their most successful captain in Test history, and that would be Misbah ul Haq, when he actually will be winning the first Test match for Pakistan against New Zealand. And as I said, the 5th day is absolutely a mere formality, just a mere formality at the Abu Dhabi at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium, where the only thing one has to see is how long the New Zealand batsmen Mark Craig and East Sodhi can carry on tomorrow. Rahat Ali, 9 overs, 1 made and 2 for 38. He picked up those 2 wickets on the trot. Imran Khan, 7 overs, 1 for 34. Zulfikar Babar, once again impressive, 18 overs, 6 made and 30 runs and 2 wickets. New Zealand had their problems with spin once again. Yasir Shah in the second innings bowling much better than the first. 13 overs, 1 made and 49 runs and 2 wickets, taking both these wickets with his googlies. And Mohammad Hafiz, 7 overs, no maiden, 1 for 21. So as I said, it's an enormous task for New Zealand to save the match. 306 runs required on the final day at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi, with just 2 wickets remaining. And as I said, tomorrow the Pakistan captain Misbah ul Haq would be making history as the most successful captain in Pakistan cricket history. So Misbah ul Haq is once again the man of the moment there tomorrow. Well, so now I'm taking you down to Zahoor Ahmed Chowdhury Stadium in Chittagong, where the third test match, the third and final test match started between Bangladesh and Zimbabwe. It was a very good toss to win for Bangladesh on a flat pitch, and they immediately decided to bat. And what a decision that was. Once Mushfiqur Rahim decided to bat, it was very tough going for the Zimbabwean bowlers. The Zimbabwean bowlers, I thought they couldn't really get onto a good line and length. Today we saw that Tinashe Panyangra was not looking effective, and there was a lot of loose balls being bowled. Even the spinners were finding it pretty difficult, and Tamim Iqbal and Imrul Kais were playing some beautiful strokes. Tamim Iqbal was just taking the confidence. We saw that Tamim Iqbal was playing at snail's pace in the previous test match, but here Tamim Iqbal was unveiling some best strokes of his, where the confidence really told on him, and Tamim Iqbal went on to take his second consecutive test century in the company of Imrul Kais, who actually came into the team today in place of Shamsur Rahman, and Imrul Kais also made it count, and both of them started frustrating the Zimbabwean bowling with a very stubborn partnership, and an opening partnership which shattered all the records for Bangladesh in their cricket history, as a new record was created by Tamim Iqbal and Imrul Kais, the openers, as they put on 224 runs for the first wicket. They played out 2 sessions without being separated. The first wicket and the first reward. In fact, Imrul Kais also played some very good strokes against the bowlers, and Tamim Iqbal and Imrul Kais had put on 224 for the first wicket, and then it took the first wicket to go, the first wicket that Zimbabwe, or the first reward that Zimbabwe got throughout the entire day, was only after tea time, when the first wicket was taken, and the first wicket to go was Tamim Iqbal. After making 109 runs, the part-time bowler Sikandar Raza picked up his wicket by getting him caught, but Tamim Iqbal had scored 109 with 14 fours and 1 6, and after that, once the score reached 272, Imrul Kais, on his comeback, getting his second test century under his belt, was out for 130, caught by the substitute Vusi Subanda of the bowling of the part-time bowler Hamilton Masakadze for 130 with 12 fours and 2 sixes. And those sixes that Imrul Kais and Tamim Iqbal hit, Imrul Kais was hitting pretty cleanly when he came down the wicket and lofted Natasha Mashangwe, the right-arm leg spinner, over the fence for 2 sixes. Tamim Iqbal also hit 1 6 of Mashangwe, and the score was 272 for 2. And finally, Mominul Haq was there towards close of play with an unbeaten 46 to his name. Mahmudullah was not out on 5, and Bangladesh finishing on a very high total at close on the first day of this final test match at 303 for 2 of 90 overs. The entire 90 overs being bowled today, and 303 for 2 was the close of play score. As I said, the Bangladesh really sitting on a high, and especially considering that they are looking at a clean sweep of this series against Zimbabwe. Now looking at the bowling, Tinasha Paniangra, 14 overs, 1 maiden, none for 46. Chigumbra, 10 overs, 3 maidens, none for 29. There was no, today I thought there was one player who was left out, Tendai Chatara was left out of the team. Hamilton Masakadze, 15 overs, 3 maidens, none for 50. Mashangwe, 25 overs, 3 maidens, none for 85. Sikandar Raza, 21 overs, 1 for 74 for him. Shari, 2 overs, 9 runs, and Hamilton Masakadze, 3 overs, 1 maiden, 3 runs and 1 wicket. So that was the situation. And also they had Mutumbami coming into this, so I wouldn't know what was the thinking behind that, because they already have a very good wicketkeeper batsman in Tendai Chatara. They were probably looking at the flat pitch. Zimbabwe wanted to actually strengthen their batting, it seems, because to have Richmond Mutumbami, the wicketkeeper, so they had 2 wicketkeepers in the middle. Chakab already did well with the keeping. He also got a maiden century, as you know, in the previous test, but I was a bit surprised that Tendai Chatara was left out, because Tendai Chatara, I felt, always bowled very, very economically and very tightly, but probably the Zimbabwe think tank had some other ideas, and that's the reason they brought in another wicketkeeper batsman, probably to strengthen the batting, in my feeling. So anyway, we will know when Zimbabwe bat and how they fared. That will really tell you whether the decision of dropping Tendai Chatara in favor of Richmond Mutumbami, the wicketkeeper batsman, was the right decision. But as I said, all in all, Bangladesh finishing on a real high at 303 for 2 by shattering the opening record as far as Bangladesh were concerned in their Bangladesh cricket history. So 2 records, almost record-breaking matches going on at both the places here. Now, the other news before I leave this cricket happening show I would like to share is this is ICC cricket news coming in. ICC are deciding that in this the test matches which are going to be played between South Africa and Australia, as we know, there is the third umpire gives the decision as the UDRS comes into the picture when the umpires on the field are finding it difficult to actually decide whether the batsman was out, whether it took the bat, the pad, glove, the body, or where there was an edge, where there was a snick, or many things. We are talking about snickometer, a lot of things. Now, a new innovation is coming towards television this year at Channel 9 in Australia, where Australia and South Africa will be playing in the test matches, or probably on one day. I'm not really sure about that. That is something that I need to check on. But one thing is pretty sure, in the series between Australia and South Africa, we are going to see a new innovation as far as cricket is concerned, and that is on television broadcast. What the television audiences would be seeing the discussion which would be going on between the on-field umpires and the third umpire who is sitting in the pavilion. The both of them will be discussing the decision. As and when there is going to be the UDRS is going to come into the picture, where the decision is going to be referred to the third umpire. The third umpire will be talking with the on-field umpires. As they know, they talk on a walkie-talkie. Now that particular discussion would be beamed live on television during that series. They're going to experiment that, and probably if it is successful, they might also introduce it into the World Cup 2015. So it will be pretty interesting to see what happens, where the on-field umpire confers with the third umpire as to see whether, and they would be discussing that and then taking the decision. So this is something that all the audiences who would be watching on television would be in a position to actually witness. And what a great innovation that is going to be as far as television audiences are concerned. Well, it's a great move according to me, and I'm really looking forward to hear that discussion between the on-field umpires and the third umpire who is sitting in the pavilion. It's a great innovation as far as television broadcasting is concerned. Well, really has to credit the Australian the Australian cricket commentary team of actually trying to bring a beautiful innovation as far as international cricket is concerned. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, thanks for keeping company and thanks for regularly watching the Cricket Happening Show and offering me all the needed support to make this Cricket Happening Show a great success. And I will be looking forward to speaking to you all tomorrow when the Pakistan Pakistan captain Misbah ul Haq would be making history, when Pakistan would be defeating New Zealand tomorrow on the final day. They are just 2 wickets away from victory, and Misbah ul Haq would become the most successful test captain in Pakistan cricket history. And also I'll be giving you a report on the second day's play in the final test match between Bangladesh and Zimbabwe. Till then, your host Ram would like to say goodbye. Thank you.